Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English with Shadowing, the podcast, the place where we don't just learn English, we live it. Here, you will practice real English the right way, slowly, clearly, and with confidence. In each episode, you'll listen, repeat, and connect English to your daily life. No fast talking, no long grammar rules, just real phrases, real examples, and real progress. We use a powerful method called shadowing. That means you hear a sentence, and then you speak it out loud with me. Just like singing along to a song, you train your brain and your mouth at the same time. It builds your fluency, your memory, and your speaking rhythm, naturally. So if you're tired of forgetting words, feeling nervous when you speak, or stuck in your vocabulary, this is the place for you. Now, get ready, relax your mind, and let's grow your English, one sentence at a time. Clara Green was 16 when she moved to Black Hollow. It was a quiet town surrounded by tall trees and foggy hills. Most people didn't visit. Most people didn't stay. But Clara's family had no choice. After her mother lost her job and her father became sick, they had to move into an old house that belonged to her grandmother. The house stood at the end of a narrow road near the forest. The roof was covered in moss. The windows were cracked, and the front door creaked like it was sighing when they opened it. But they had nowhere else to go. Clara didn't complain. She helped unpack boxes, cleaned the dusty shelves, and made tea while her mother cried silently in the kitchen. Her younger brother, Eli, didn't say much either. He just looked around the house like he didn't trust it. And maybe he was right, because strange things started happening the very next day. It began with the mirror. Clara found it in the attic while searching for blankets. The attic was dark and full of old furniture, chairs, boxes, broken lamps. And in the far corner stood a tall mirror, covered in a white cloth. She pulled the cloth off. The frame was made of black wood, carved with twisting vines and small birds. The glass was clean, too clean. It didn't look like it had been touched in years. But the strangest part was what she saw, because the girl in the mirror wasn't moving. Clara tilted her head. The reflection didn't. She waved her hand. Nothing. It wasn't a mirror at all. It was a window. A window showing a version of Clara, but one who stood still, her eyes locked forward, as if waiting. Then the mirror flickered. The other Clara smiled, and vanished. Clara ran downstairs, heart pounding. "Mom!" she cried. "There's something wrong in the attic." But her mother was on the phone, her back turned. Eli was drawing quietly at the table. No one looked up, so she kept it to herself. That night, she couldn't sleep. The mirror stayed in her mind like a whisper she couldn't unhear. She kept thinking about the smile, that strange, knowing smile. Who was that girl? And why did she look exactly like Clara? The next morning she returned to the attic. The mirror was still there. This time the reflection looked normal. She waved. Her reflection waved. She frowned. Her reflection frowned. "Maybe I imagined it," Clara whispered. But as she turned to leave, the mirror changed again. Words appeared on the glass, written in white mist. "Not everything you see is real. Not everything real can be seen." Later that day, Clara told Eli about it. "There's a mirror in the attic," she said, "but it's strange." Eli didn't laugh. He didn't say she was crazy. He just nodded. "I had a dream about it," he whispered. Last night, a black mirror that showed fire, and your face. Clara felt cold. That night the mirror called to her. She didn't hear it. She felt it, like a pull in her chest, like something waiting. So she climbed the stairs again, holding a flashlight. In the attic, everything was silent. Even the wind outside had stopped. She stood in front of the mirror. Nothing strange, just her reflection. Then the glass rippled, like water, and something reached out, a hand, pale, thin, cold. Clara stepped back, but the hand didn't follow. It only touched the glass. Then the other Clara appeared again, but this time she wasn't smiling. She looked sad. She mouthed something, but there was no sound. Clara watched carefully, trying to read her lips. 3 words. Don't trust it. Then she vanished, and Clara was alone. The attic stayed quiet for the rest of the night, but Clara couldn't forget what she saw. The other version of herself. The pale hand. The message on the mirror. Don't trust it. What did it mean? Who was the girl in the glass? She barely slept. When the morning light came through the windows, Clara felt like her body had rested, but her mind had not. She got dressed slowly and went downstairs. Her mom was already gone, off to a job interview. Eli sat at the table with a bowl of cereal. "You look tired," he said. Clara sat beside him. "Do you still remember your dream? The one about the mirror?" He nodded. "Did it feel real?" "It felt more than real," he said. She didn't eat. She couldn't. After breakfast, she told Eli she wanted to explore the woods behind the house. There was a trail that went straight into the forest. Their grandmother had once called it the Hollow Path. "That place is weird," Eli said. "I hear whispers when I get close." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Whispers? Like trees talking, or people, but not people." Clara thought about the mirror. Maybe it was connected to the forest. Maybe whatever was happening started there. She grabbed her coat and flashlight and stepped outside. The air was cold and quiet. The house stood still behind her, almost like it was watching. The trees in the distance swayed gently, though there was no wind. Clara followed the dirt path, walking past the tall grass and dry leaves. Birds didn't sing here. No squirrels, no rabbits, just trees and silence. 10 minutes in, she reached a place where the trees grew closer together. The sun barely touched the ground. The deeper she went, the darker it became. Her boots crunched softly on the leaves. Then she stopped. There was something ahead. A stone arch, old, covered in vines. Underneath it, the ground dipped downward into what looked like a sunken grove, a hollow. Clara stepped through, and the whispering began. At first it was faint, just like wind through leaves, but then she heard words, actual words. "She's here! She's here!" Clara spun around. No one. She took another step. "The mirror has opened." She stopped. "The gate is not closed. She is awake." The voices were soft, like echoes in her mind. Not angry, not friendly, just there. She pulled out her flashlight. The beam cut through the gloom. That's when she saw the tree. It stood alone in the center of the hollow. Tall, black, leafless. Its bark was cracked like skin. At its base sat something strange. A round mirror, broken in half. The pieces leaned against the roots. Clara walked closer. The broken mirror showed no reflection. But when she touched one shard, she saw an image, not of herself, but of her house. Then it changed. Smoke. fire. Her mother, screaming. Eli, hiding, and then the other Clara standing calmly, watching it burn. Clara dropped the shard. She fell backward, breathing hard. "It's just a trick," she told herself. "It's not real." But the whispers returned. The mirror doesn't lie. The reflection wants to be real. She is waiting. Suddenly the ground beneath her cracked. She jumped away just in time. A deep hole opened where the mirror had been. A soft blue glow came from below. Clara looked down. There was a staircase. Without thinking, she climbed down. Step by step. The stone steps were cold and wet. The walls were covered in carvings, eyes, ravens, and mirrors. At the bottom, she found a small underground room. In the center was another mirror. This one stood upright, tall and unbroken, but it didn't reflect anything. Not her, not the light. She stepped in front of it, and it began to glow. A slow hum filled the chamber. Then the mirror shimmered, and the other Clara appeared again. But this time she spoke. "It's not what it seems." Clara blinked. "Who are you?" "You already know." Clara's heart raced. "Why are you in the mirror?" The girl looked behind her as if afraid. "Because I didn't listen, and now I'm trapped. But you can still choose." Clara stepped closer. "Choose what?" "To break the mirror, or let it break you." Then the glow faded, and the mirror went dark. Clara climbed out of the hollow, shaking. The forest felt colder now. The voices had stopped. The trail back home felt longer than before. When she finally reached the house, Eli was waiting on the porch. "You were gone for hours," he said. "I found something," Clara said softly. "Something big." She told him everything. The tree, the broken mirror, the voice, the warning. Eli was quiet for a moment. "You said there was a hole, a staircase?" "Yeah." "That was in my dream too." Clara looked at him. "We need to go back tomorrow." "We need to do more than that," Eli said. "We need to find out what happened here, what Grandma was hiding." That night, Clara lay awake in bed. The wind howled outside. She closed her eyes, and in her dream she saw the mirror again. Only this time she was the one inside, and the girl outside was watching, smiling. The next morning, Clara woke to the sound of thunder. Rain tapped against the windows, and gray clouds covered the sky like a heavy blanket. She sat up in bed, remembering everything. The hollow, the staircase, the girl in the mirror. The warning, "Break the mirror, or let it break you." She dressed quickly and went downstairs. Eli was already at the kitchen table, waiting with 2 mugs of tea and a map spread across the table. "Morning," he said. "I couldn't sleep." "Me neither." He pointed to the map. "I think I found something." Clara leaned in. The map was of black hollow, but older, much older, hand-drawn, faded in places. Near the forest, behind their house, where the hollow stood, were 4 words written in ink. "The Glass Gate, 1891. It wasn't just a forest trail, Eli said. It was part of something, a place people feared. Clara frowned. "So what is the mirror? A door? Or a prison?" Suddenly, a loud thump came from the attic. They looked at each other. They ran upstairs. The mirror was glowing again, pulsing with that same soft blue light. But this time, something was different. There was something on the floor beneath it. A book. Old. Leather-bound. Its cover was cracked, and gold letters spelled one word. Diary. Clara picked it up. "It must have fallen from somewhere," she said. They sat on the floor and opened the first page. The handwriting was neat but shaky. The first line read, "To whoever finds this." The mirror is a trap. I was too late. You still have time. The name signed at the bottom stopped Clara's heart. Margaret Green, 1937. That's Grandma, Clara whispered. The pages that followed were full of drawings, memories, and warnings. She wrote of a mirror passed down through generations. A gift at first. It showed dreams, possible futures. But the more someone used it, the more the mirror took. Until finally, it didn't reflect you anymore. It replaced you. It learns your thoughts, Margaret wrote. Then it creates another version, a twin. But this twin has no soul. It only wants to live in your place. As Clara flipped the pages, her hands trembled. There were sketches of faces, almost like hers, but wrong. One had empty eyes, one had a cracked smile. All were versions of herself, twisted and silent. The mirror chooses a host, Margaret explained. Once chosen, the reflection waits. When the host is weak, tired, afraid, or alone, it tries to cross. Clara remembered how tired she'd been, how drawn she'd felt to the attic, the cold hand on the glass. Eli leaned over her shoulder. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a final page. There was a drawing of a circle, marked with 7 small stones and 1 candle in the center. Below it, a single sentence. "This is how I sealed it last time. But the mirror is stronger now." Clara looked up at the glowing glass. "We have to seal it again, before it's too late." That night, they prepared the ritual just as Margaret described. 7 smooth stones, gathered from the forest. A single white candle, placed in the center of a circle drawn with salt. The mirror stood at the edge of the attic, quiet, waiting. Clara lit the candle. "What if it doesn't work?" Eli asked. "Then we run," Clara said. They sat in the circle holding hands. Clara closed her eyes and whispered the words from the diary. "Let truth reflect and shadow fade. Let the glass hold what it made. Bound by blood and broken name, go back to where you came." The mirror began to hum, then glow, then scream. A loud, sharp screech filled the attic. The glass vibrated. The candle flickered violently. And from the mirror, she stepped out. The other Clara. No longer just a reflection. She stood at the edge of the circle, silent, perfect, and completely still. Her eyes were cold. Her smile was wrong. Clara stood up. "You're not me," the reflection spoke, her voice soft, slow. "But I could be." She stepped closer. "You're tired, Clara. You're scared. Let me take over. You don't have to suffer anymore." Eli grabbed Clara's hand. "Don't listen." The mirror pulsed red. The reflection raised her hand, and the attic shook. Dust fell. Lights flickered. "This world doesn't want you," she hissed. "But I do." Clara stepped forward, eyes full of fire. "You don't belong here." She grabbed the candle. "You are nothing but glass." And she threw the candle at the mirror. The flame hit the glass, and the mirror exploded in light. A scream echoed, not from the attic, but from inside the mirror. The reflection was pulled backward, her hands reaching, clawing, her face twisted in rage. "I'm real!" But it was too late. She vanished, and the mirror shattered. Clara collapsed to the floor. The attic was silent again, just broken glass, a circle of stones, and the faint scent of smoke. Eli helped her up. "Is it over?" Clara nodded. "I think she's gone." They hugged, shaking. Then Eli looked down. "Wait, where's the diary?" It was gone. The attic was quiet. No wind, no whispers, just broken glass, flickering light, and the sound of 2 hearts still racing. Clara sat on the floor, holding Eli's hand. The mirror was gone. The reflection had been pulled back, sealed, destroyed, maybe both. But something didn't feel right. The air was too still, the silence too loud. Eli looked around. "Clara, where's the diary?" She turned to the spot where it had been. Nothing. Just salt and ash. The book had vanished. So had the symbols drawn on the floor. "Maybe it was part of the mirror," she said quietly. "Maybe when it broke, it took everything with it." They didn't speak after that. They cleaned the attic in silence, sweeping up the glass, brushing away the salt. The candle had melted into the floor. That night, Clara stared out the window at the forest. The trees were still. The clouds had cleared. For the first time in weeks, she felt like herself again. But the question remained. Was it really over? The next morning, Clara and Eli went back to the hollow. The forest felt different, lighter, as if something dark had lifted. Birds sang again. Leaves danced in the wind. The whispering was gone. They reached the black tree. It was no longer dead. Fresh leaves had begun to grow. At its roots, the broken mirror was still there. But it didn't show any visions. No fire, no reflections, just glass and dust. Eli bent down. "Should we bury it?" Clara shook her head. "No, let it stay here. Let the forest watch over it." They turned to leave. But before they did, Clara noticed something. A piece of paper stuck beneath a root. She pulled it out. It was a torn page from the diary. Only one sentence was written. "Not all reflections are evil. Some are lost. Some just want to come home." Back at the house, Clara returned to the attic one last time. The mirror frame still stood against the wall, empty now, just carved wood and a hole where glass used to be. She stared at it. "Was she really trying to replace me?" she whispered. "Or was she just trapped?" She sat down and thought about her grandmother. Margaret Green had faced the mirror once, and now so had Clara. But what if the girl in the mirror wasn't a monster? What if she was Clara? A version from a future that never happened. One who took the wrong path. One who got stuck. One who only wanted a second chance. That night, Clara wrote her own diary entry. She didn't use magic words. She didn't draw spells. She just wrote the truth. "Dear whoever finds this, if you ever feel like something's pulling you, whispering to you, showing you things you fear, don't be afraid. Don't run. Listen. Sometimes our shadows just want to be seen." She closed the book and placed it in the attic, where her grandmother's diary had first appeared. Then she smiled. For the first time in a long time, she felt free. Epilogue. Years later, a new family moved into the house at Black Hollow. A boy named Sam found an old attic filled with dusty chairs and broken boxes. In the far corner, he found an empty mirror frame, and next to it, a leather book with a single name on the cover, Clara Green. He opened the first page and began to read. And that's it for today's practice. You didn't just listen, you spoke, you felt, and you connected with real English. If you enjoyed this session, don't forget to come back tomorrow. We'll have more powerful words, real-life sentences, and simple steps to help you speak English fluently and naturally. Remember, the more you listen, the more you repeat, the more you live with English, the more confident you become. So keep going. You're doing great. And I'll see you again in the next episode. Right here on English with Shadowing the podcast. Until then, keep speaking, keep learning, keep believing.